So if you're invested in the crypto markets, you experience one of the biggest liquidation events that has happened in crypto history. We saw a lot of people do a lot of crazy things, and overall this has, stemmed from multiple different sources of information, from the tariff hikes that, Trump initiated on China, as well as overall exactly the price action and inside sellers and a lot of different moving parts. Dr. Profit was one individual that was anticipating all of this, but now he is actually getting quite bullish, talking about a reset on altcoins, and this is something that we were anticipating. We were seeing so much over leveraged positions. We were seeing so many people allocate to different coins that probably shouldn't deserve liquidity, and right now we're experiencing a total reset, and there's a few different perspectives on how you should be navigating next week, moving into this new week, and overall the price action around the markets with exactly the government details. So with all that being said, if you're new to my channel, check out the rest of my content. I keep you updated on the day-to-day events, price action around Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, how liquidity is shifting, and everything you need to be aware of. As I said, key news events are happening this week. Still experiencing a government shutdown. Right now, everything is looking quite bullish for Bitcoin, reclaiming specific zones, as well as the US stock market, with, the ease intentions around China and a few different sectors within, what they're offering, precious metals, a few other different moving parts. But with all that being said, let's go and jump straight into the price section and what you should be expecting. So as I said, guys, I have the hourly time frame pulled up on Bitcoin and the rest of the charts right here, and you can see that Bitcoin reclaimed that 115,000 region. You can see previously, whenever we saw the massive dump that happened in the market, which caused the massive liquidation event, which caused a lot of people to lose a lot of money. But right now we're starting to see a little bit of a correction. There is anticipation based off of the news events and the daily price action and how usually Bitcoin opens up on the weekly time frame. But overall, we'll be jumping into that. Ethereum also is having a little bit of a jump up after having that nasty wick down all the way down to 3,500. Right now we're sitting at around 4,100. Can we stay above this 4,000 region? That is going to be the key perspective. And right now, moving into Monday, the thought is that we're going to be pumping up altcoins following the price action around Ethereum, but you can see everything is looking a little bit weak, looking shaky overall, wanting to move more up as well with specific imbalances and the strong price action we're seeing with Ethereum, but only in due time with how the global economic events and how everyone feels about investing into the market is going to really determine how we should be investing and looking at the markets. Now, Bitcoin dominance is one of the biggest charts that lets us know how liquidity is shifting, and we were anticipating the move to around 60% before we start to see a little bit of a crash down, and this is exactly what happened on my video earlier in the week. We actually caught right whenever Bitcoin dominance was jumping up and down like crazy, and you can see after we hit that zone, we are starting to see a little bit of a jump down. I want to get a little bit more of a perspective from Benjamin Cohen, who is the individual that was anticipating Bitcoin dominance was going to hit 60%, but overall this is where we need to be keeping up with the day-to-day, especially also since Ethereum was expected to return back to that 21-week estimated moving average, and that's exactly where it went. But as I said, moving into this new week, we do have some key news events that are going to be happening. Now, a lot of people do not care about news events, but these are still catalysts to exactly how the market is affected and how individuals go about purchasing altcoins, shorting the market, longing the market, all that good stuff. So moving into tomorrow, we have the OPEC monthly report. Tuesday, we have Fed Chair Powell speaking. That's going to obviously cause fluctuations in the market. Wednesday, NY Fed manufacturing index. Thursday, Philly Fed manufacturing index, then the NAHB housing market index, and then also the 10% of the S&P 500 companies are going to be reporting earnings. So if we see weak earnings, not going to be looking good, but overall strong earnings going to cause a lot of fluctuations. Overall, though, the data blackout on the U.S. government shutdown is still continuing, but we have been seeing a lot of jump ups. You can see we've been covering it on the Kobesi letter. They have explained that Ethereum extends its gains over 11% on the day, now up 20% from its Friday low, whenever everything just dumped really nasty. Dip buyers are in full swing after a 19.5 billion record liquidation, and that's what we were discussing at the beginning of the video. But right now, there's a lot of escalations around the tariffs. and honestly what everyone is expecting. A lot of people also are talking about, what's happening in the crypto markets and the shift of wealth. Adam Kobesi, game over. Crypto has now added over 550 billion in market cap since the 5:30 p.m. ET bottom on Friday. This was one of the largest and fastest wealth transfers in crypto history. And this is where, guys, a lot of people lost money, and it just got moved all into the hands of people that do know what they're doing. Then we can see a little bit more about the liquidation. Financial markets are evolving, FOMO, a lot of different things that are happening in the market. But all you really need to know is that there's a lot of manipulation taking place, and this is why most people lose, guys. That's why I was telling everyone, do not sell your bags. Like, do not do it. But people do what they want. This is also tying into a little bit of the U.S. stock market, and the futures opened sharply higher as investors react to U.S. and China de-escalation this weekend, due to the negotiations around the tariff prices, as well as overall around the specific items, precious metals, a few other different things in the tech space. You guys will see. But overall, not too important. All you really need to know is that Bitcoin and Ethereum are extending their gains and reclaiming specific zones. And this is really great. And this is really just showing that liquidity just moves into the hands of the patient people, guys. You can't be impatient, and if you don't keep up with all this information, you're gonna be left in the dust. Now, KillXBT is giving his perspective around the price action around Bitcoin. Him and Dr. Profit have been the only individuals that I've seen that have been actually giving a real perspective as to why the markets were going to be dumping, and they capitalized on it and made some crazy gains. And most of the other individuals in the market that I'm sure you guys were listening to, they don't offer that clear, concise advice. Them and Benjamin Cohen were just pretty spot on. But overall, KillXBT is giving some perspective around Jim Cramer whenever he was saying we are so back, and then pretty much seeing exactly how that's going to be aging for Bitcoin. But the biggest thing I want you guys to know, which he just posted about an hour ago, which is where we start to anticipate the price action around Bitcoin and how to, navigate moving into the start of the week all the way into the end of the week. One great thing he said 5 hours ago is he says next week's Bitcoin candle is closing red. And I'm sure that potentially we're going to be seeing a pump, and then from there sideways price action and potentially a dump as well. But in the hourly post that he had just said, he said, Bitcoin, remember my pivots. Monday high observed during London/New York for the high to be formed. In some rare cases, the high is formed during Asia, but most cases during London and NY. So this is where we talk about specific markets whenever they're opening, time zones, all these different variations. But this is where keeping up with that price action moving into Monday around all these specific markets is really going to let you know how we're going to be moving for the week. This is super important to anticipate, and that's why I show you guys on a day-to-day what is expected, and then from there what actually happens. Now, Dr. Profit has been one individual that has been saying that he said he would buy the garbage altcoins 70 to 90% below their current prices a month ago, and he said people were calling him crazy and was wondering if he was kidding. And right now a lot of his buy orders are hitting, and this is what I told everyone, guys, when the markets are dumping significantly, this is when you go and you allocate. That's why if you followed me on my channel, I literally told you for the past 2 weeks, do not allocate to the market. Everything is green. We're in an overbought region. Everybody is getting too hyped. I did expect a deviation. Did I expect the nasty deviation that we saw? No, I'll be honest with you, did not expect that, but I did expect a deviation, and that's exactly what happened. And now that's why I'm allocating at way better prices than anyone else that was buying in these last 2 weeks. And this is super important to anticipate, and even Dr. Profit is starting to take advantage of this. Now, of course, moving more into it, this is where everyone's talking about how, the fact that most altcoins are in a reset mode is bullish, but we need to continue to watch the stock market behavior. Once there is a bullish confirmation, we can expect way higher on altcoins. Being bullish on altcoins was punished a few days ago, but bullish after the reset is the only way to go. As mentioned, all eyes on stock market for further confirmation and more upside. So when Dr. Profit starts to get bullish, I start to get bullish, because this guy really understands where we're moving in terms of the price action, especially since everybody just got wiped out, and the only people that are starting to reallocate are the people that actually know what they're doing and people that actually still have income and dry powder on the side. Now, Crypto Mission out on a lot of crypto influencers and calls are pretty much just telling you if you feel worried about your altcoin portfolio, you shouldn't really be worried. Valuations go down as long as you don't sell, you're not in a loss. And I think that this is where, guys, you can't get so caught caught up in what all these influencers and Coles say. Yes, it's fun to follow them. Yes, they give you a lot of, hype and euphoria, but it can really cause you to lose a lot of money if you follow them and do the wrong move based off of something that they say. Do not get caught up in the euphoria. Follow actual price action and numbers, because numbers do not lie. People do, guys. So just make sure you keep this in mind. I know a lot of y'all keep up with influencers and Coles. I do as well, but I'm actually going to be making a complete cleanup of my follower list, because I think the sources of information that you get, even whenever it's something that's not completely useful, it is detrimental to the overall process of you trying to analyze everything. Now, Benjamin Cohen is talking a little bit about exactly what we're anticipating with altcoins and pretty much how it compares to Bitcoin, so alt and Bitcoin pairs, and where we're headed, and also with Bitcoin dominance moving to that 60% region. Well, we already hit that 60% region, and now he's talking about the price action on Ethereum after moving back to that 21-week estimated moving average. It says a base case for me is that ETH rallies to new all-time highs. Will admit I am wrong if Bitcoin gets 2 weekly closes below 100,000. So at the end of the day, he even says he can be invalidated, but only in due time will we actually see if that happens. And with everyone just throwing their money into altcoins right now, it kind of makes sense that the markets are kind of just going to be pumping. Now, moving more into it, you can just see that he's anticipating that Ethereum is going to be rallying super hard, and he just keeps getting more confirmation on the fact that he believes that Ethereum is going to be moving to that new all-time high region, potentially causing a lot of fluctuations in the market. So this is really, really interesting. And like I said, this is Sunday night while I'm giving you all this information. So moving into tomorrow is going to be really important to see how the markets are starting up. And like I said, I drop day-to-day content every day, so just make sure you guys stay tuned. Now, markets are trading sideways. Like how we have been discussing, there has been a lot of corrections though in the past 48 hours. After we saw that nasty dip that took place on Friday, a lot of people said that there was a lot of manipulation taking place, and I agree there was, because a lot of people couldn't even buy crypto because everything was frozen. And it's just because that's the way the game is played, guys, especially with these exchanges. You got to really know how to allocate and when to allocate so that you don't get shreked, and also play the market correctly. Now, my altcoin portfolio has been seeing a correction for the 24-hour, and that's usually what you want to see, guys, whenever you're investing in altcoins. Whenever the markets start to see a pump, you want to see your assets move first, because if they're not moving, you're not investing in strong coins. Now, overall, that is currently what is happening right now. We have some key news events that are going to be happening this week. We have been seeing a correction in the markets, which is bullish, but moving into the start of the week, this is where we need to be keeping up with all of that price action and what everyone is expecting. Everyone's getting super bullish on altcoins because this is kind of like a reset across the board. But at the end of the day, we truly do not know what's going to be happening until we start to see all the data and everything else come out. Benjamin Cohen believes that we're going to be seeing Ethereum reach new all-time highs quite soon. So this is a very, very bullish time, guys. If you're new to my channel, check out the rest of my content. I keep you updated on these day-to-day events, price action on Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, how liquidity is shifting, and everything you need to be aware of. I mix perspectives, not only from the bears, but also from the bulls. And I pretty much move forward with the best perspective based off of all the data that we analyze. I know a lot of people do not like following real information. They like people being super euphoric and telling you this is going to happen and this is why this occurred and all this other stuff. I just want to give you the straight information. That way you have a clear understanding of what's going on and you can keep navigating the space more correctly. We're still on the cusp of altcoin season, but after altcoin season, guys, is the bear market. And if you know how to short the market and you know how to navigate the market, you can not only make money on the upside of the market, but also on the downside. So I cannot wait for that. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned. I'm gonna drop another video tomorrow, keeping you updated on everything you need to be aware of. Like how I said, if you guys have any questions or suggestions, drop it down below and I will be sure to get to it. And hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. Peace.